Good morning, my dear students. So today we are going to start with the chapter number 2 of the book Hornbill. We are not afraid to die if we can all be together by Gordon Cook and Alan East. So see the title of the story. We are not afraid to die if we can all be together. See, the title itself suggests that there's a family, that if you are in a family, if you are all together, then you are not even afraid of any trouble coming to you. So, am I right or wrong? Yes. So, if you are all together, you are not afraid if you are with your family, with your parents, with your siblings. You are never afraid of any stress. Even the direst stress can be overcome if you are all together, right? So now this story is about a family which undertakes a 3-year long sea voyage. What is a sea voyage? Sea voyage is a sea journey. So it's about a family which undertakes a 3-year long sea voyage, and they face a lot of problems, even death on their way. But they don't lose hope. It is their optimism. What do you mean by optimism? Optimism is positive attitude, courage, and the bond of togetherness that helps them fight the direst stress and overcome all the odds. So basically, this chapter gives us an important lesson that even if we are face to face with death, you should not lose hope in any circumstances. At times, life presents very dire situations, but if one is optimistic, means if one has a positive attitude about finding a solution and overcoming the odds, one will always be successful. So, my dear students, never get scared of any situation or any circumstance in your life. Fight with it with courage, with a positive attitude, and I'm sure you will come out with flying colors from that direst situation also. And if you have a bond of togetherness with your family, then to overcome that situation becomes much more easier. So this is the lesson which the author wants to give us through this story. So now I will give you a brief summary of the story. So basically I've told you that it's about a family which undertakes a 3-year long sea voyage. So first of all, in July 1976, the narrator, his wife Mary, son Jonathan, and daughter Suzanne started their sea voyage from Plymouth, England. So basically, a family, that is the narrator, his wife Mary, his son Jonathan, and his daughter Suzanne, they started their sea journey from which place? From the place known as Plymouth, England. The narrator and his wife spent 16 years preparing for the round the world voyage. Their boat, Wave Walker, was professionally built and they had tested it in the roughest weather they could find. So they had built a special boat. What was the name of their boat? Wave Walker. And they have tested it in the roughest voyage, in the roughest weather they could find. The first leg of their planned 3-year journey passed pleasantly. They took 2 crewmen, the American Larry Vigil and Swiss Herb. What was the name of the 2 crewmen? Larry Vigil and Swiss Herb Segler, before heading east from Cape Town towards one of the world's roughest seas, the southern Indian Ocean. So basically a family, that is the narrator, his wife Mary, his son Jonathan, and his daughter Suzanne. They start their sea voyage, a 3-year long sea voyage from a place called Plymouth, England, right? And they took 2 crewmen. The name of the crewmen are Larry and Swiss Herb Segler. And before they started towards one of the world's roughest sea, that is the southern Indian Ocean, right? Now the problems begin. On the second day out of Cape Town, they encountered strong winds and high waves. The size of the waves was alarming. Despite the atrocious weather, they celebrated Christmas Day wonderfully. New Year's Day saw no improvement in the weather. It was going to get worse. On 2nd January, the waves were gigantic. They were sailing with a small storm jib, but still they were going very fast. The screaming of the wind and the spray was almost painful to the ears. To minimize the damage, they dropped the storm jib and lashed a heavy mooring rope in a loop across the stern. They prepared for the worst and went through the life raft drill. Now, at about 6 p.m., there was an ominous silence. The wind dropped and the sky grew immediately dark. The narrator thought that he saw a cloud coming towards them. With horror, he realized that it was a wave like no other he had ever seen. The wave hit the boat and a tremendous explosion shook the deck. The captain's head smashed into the wheel of the boat and suddenly he found himself below the waves. He thought that he was going to die, but then his head popped out of the water. He saw that the boat had almost capsized. Suddenly a wave hurled her upright and the captain got tossed onto the boat. His left ribs were cracked, his mouth was filled with blood, and teeth were broken. Somehow he managed to find the wheel. The narrator knew that the ship had water below, but he dared not abandon the wheel to investigate. Suddenly, Mary came and handed the wheel to her. Larry and Herb pumped the water out like madmen. The ship was wrecked. He somehow managed to reach the children. Sue had a big bump on her head. He got a canvas, hammer, and screws to waterproof the hatch covers. The electric pump got short circuited and the water rose threateningly. He managed to find another electric pump to drain out the water. The night was an endless, bitterly cold routine of pumping, steering, and working the radio. Sue's head had swollen alarmingly. She also had a deep cut on her arm. She didn't tell the narrator more of her injuries as she didn't want to worry him. Now, it was a tough time for the whole family. But the captain, he managed to make several calculations, made adjustments, and came to Larry. He asked him to steer a course of 185 degrees, and if they were lucky, they would see the island at about 5 p.m. It was at about 6 p.m. when he woke up. He thought that they must have missed the island. Jonathan and Sue came to him and gave him a hug because he was the best daddy in the world. The narrator was confused. Actually, they had found the island. He rushed back and saw the most beautiful island in the world. And when his feet touched land the next day, he thought of the cheerfulness and optimism of all the people on the boat, which made them pass through the direst stress. So see, the whole family was together, and see how optimism helps even in the direst stress. So the whole family did not lose their optimism, their positive attitude. They knew that their daddy, the captain of the ship, that is the narrator, was the best daddy in the world and would definitely find a solution and would definitely find an island. And finally, after the harsh journey, they found the island and were able to save their life. So, my dear students, this chapter gives us a lesson that one should never lose hope and courage, even in the direst stress in life, even in the odds, even in the worst circumstances. One should feel courageous. One should not lose hope, and I'm sure, and I give you a guarantee that you will come out with flying colors, even from the odd circumstances, if you have courage and optimism to face that circumstance. So I hope you have understood the brief introduction of the chapter. Tomorrow we are going to start with the line-wise line reading of the chapter. Thank you and have a nice day.